everyone, Andre here, and it's a wonderfully rainy day in November in South Florida. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself. I first got the idea to kind of do like a car vlog because I'm very passionate about cars, and it's just something that I've always kind of wanted to do, and also it served a twofold purpose. I always wanted to get into video editing kind of as a hobby, and so it seemed like a really good idea. Just why don't I make my own videos and shoot them? But I'm gonna kind of take a different approach here, at least for a little bit. We just passed Veterans Day, and the day before Veterans Day is a day very special to me. It's actually the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th, and 242 years this year. And so without further ado, yes, I am a Marine, currently serving. I am a reservist. Cue the jokes. I've got tons of them. If anyone is ever interested in hearing jokes about reservists, believe me, they almost write themselves. And I've been in for about 7 years now. I joined a little bit late in life. I was 23, turned 24 in boot camp. And the reason I joined as late as I did is because both my parents are much older. Life happens kind of funny sometimes. My son was born right about when I was 21, so I joined when he was 2 years old, and the reserves was a good fit for me with my family situation that was going on. It allowed me to still serve. It allowed me to still deploy. It provided me some opportunities, and I was just going to take a few minutes to tell you guys a little bit about me, and I'm going to start a little, if you will, a little vlog series just about my experiences in the reserves and where I've been and things like that. So without further ado, also one of the things that I got to do as a reservist was I ended up, and it wasn't with the reserves, but it was because of the reserves. I ended up taking a job private contracting in Afghanistan for a little while. I've been to southern Afghanistan, down in Helmand province. I was doing security down there. And but let's just start at the beginning. So I enlisted in 2010, and I shipped off to boot camp in 2011, March 21st actually. I was a Parris Island Marine, and I was originally an 0352, which is anti-armor assault, also affectionately named a tow gunner. So that's for those that aren't in the know, 03 is the moniker for infantry, and then the next two numbers are your actual specialty. So I was the infantry Marine that was trained for like javelins, tow missiles, utilizing anti-armor weapons of that nature. It's really not that special. We get made fun of a lot because we're typically normally, like in deployed situations, like in Iraq or Afghanistan, a lot of times people in my MOS would be mounted on a Humvee or a MRAP on the turret, and so we used to get a lot of flack for not having to walk quite as much as the other infantry Marines, and that's just in my experience of it. That's everywhere you go, things are going to be a little bit differently, but I found that 0352s especially are pretty uniquely disliked across the board, but that's anywhere you go. So my first 4 years were done like that, and my reserve unit, which is in South Florida, right about 2014, Marine Corps headquarters, Marine Corps, decided to make some changes, and they converted my entire reserve unit into a civil affairs group. Now that is a gigantic change from from what we used to do, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We were all given the option to retrain, and if we didn't retrain, then it was more or less one of those, if you don't want to play along, you won't get along. So in the interest of keeping my options open for long term, if I wanted to stay in, I retrained. So right now I'm a civil affairs Marine. It's an interesting job. It is not glamorous at all, and it can be a little boring sometimes, but it's also got its perks. A very high deployment tempo for many operations that are going on around the world that actually we're involved in. So on that note, I'm also currently a sergeant. I picked up about a year ago. Much better promotion schedule than infantry Marines. To be honest with you, I never thought I'd even get to this point. I never even thought I'd pick up sergeant. I was pretty sure I was going to get out as an E3, and here I am 7 years in now, and I'm picked up sergeant. So sometimes that kind of surprises me, but whatever. You know, you got to roll with the punches. And so I'm kind of rambling here because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to talk about, because I originally set out with this plan that I was gonna, you know, do kind of mostly just car related stuff. I didn't think I was ever gonna mention the fact that I was in the Marine Corps, or at least not quite so directly. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and she was saying how, you know, that there are a lot of videos dedicated to, you know, just people talking about, you know, being in the military and their experiences. And I remember joining. If I had known what I know now then, I might have done things a little bit differently, but that isn't to say that the path that I've chosen isn't without its perks, and I'm definitely going to go into that at a later video. Also, I started it, and then I took almost like an immediate hiatus. You know, earlier this year in Florida, and much of the, especially Puerto Rico, still dealing with it. But we got hit with Hurricane Irma, and that was kind of a blow to a lot of my plans that I had, because all of a sudden now I'm working. You know, I was working like 100 hours a week for a little bit, and a couple other things going on. So here I am. I'm just thinking, you know, to start doing something like this, and I had some really good things happen, and it's not a bad thing. But so, all right. So first off, I've been with the same company for almost 11 years in my civilian occupation, and I'm not gonna say who it is. It's a big company. And I work in logistics and warehousing, and I love it. I really do enjoy working for the company that I work for. I just recently got promoted. It's a really big step for me. I'm making a move, actually across the state line. I'm moving into southern Georgia, and just after I got my job offer, I mean, literally 2 weeks later, I get a phone call, and I have a deployment coming in the next several months due to OPSEC reasons. That's all I'm really going to say about it, and it's for the better part of a year. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize all the time about being a reservist, but it's very it can be very challenging, because you're trying to manage a personal life, a professional life, and a military life. And it is sometimes very difficult when I'm trying to make the best long-term plans for me and my family, looking ahead down the road for, you know, my son's future, trying to plan for, you know, things like college, and so I'm trying to do well in my civilian occupation. And then next thing you know, I'm going to get deployed for quite nearly a year. And that's a little frustrating at at the worst. I mean, it's not. I mean, I signed up. This isn't the first time I've gone away. This isn't the first time that I've been handed a situation that I've just kind of had to chug along through. The only thing that really was frustrating, even because actually it's a really cool mission that I'm going on, and one day I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about it. I just can't really say too much right now for, again, what we call OPSEC reasons, operational security. But it's literally just because it came 2 weeks after I accepted a promotion and was making plans to move myself away from where I've been for so long and starting in a new area. And so it was just a lot of things that happened all at once, and those are challenges that you run into being a reservist